guys, I'm Jenna and welcome to this week's weekly update. This is where I share random things that I'm into, that I've discovered, that I'm talking to people about, that I have going on. And then at the end, I answer a couple of questions from you guys. So it is already the second week in August, which is very hard to believe. And this week, I want to talk about the Netflix documentary about Woodstock 99, the return of Low Rise, and why I'm taking a break from watching One Tree Hill, which has been a very hot topic over on my Instagram. So let's just jump right in. Number one, who else watched Trainwreck on Netflix? It's the docuseries about Woodstock 1999. I binged it this past weekend in like just a few hours. I started it, I think, on Friday night and I finished it on Saturday during the day. It goes in depth sort of about the absolute disaster that was the music festival Woodstock 1999. So if you're unfamiliar, Woodstock 1999 was their attempt to kind of revive Woodstock with 90s bands, of course, and it just went horribly wrong. And the documentary kind of sheds light on why that happened, and a lot of it has to do with the organizers like trying to save money and kind of cut corners, and it did not end well. I was 12 in 1999, so I was definitely watching MTV. I was definitely aware of Woodstock 99 happening, and I remember people saying like it went horribly wrong, it wasn't good, things went awry. But you know, I was watching like MTV, I wasn't watching the real news, so I think a lot of the coverage was kind of glossed over and they didn't get into like the really horrible things that happened there. So I don't remember hearing like these details. It's also just like such perfect Y2K era nostalgia. It's interesting, like when we start to look back at things in a nostalgia lens, there's a lot of things that get hyper fixated on and therefore really exaggerated, while other things get completely forgotten about and glossed over. Like, for example, I don't think I ever truly wore a butterfly clip, just being honest. I don't think I ever really did like the butterfly clip hairstyle with butterfly clips, but that's now kind of become synonymous with Y2K era fashion. Then there's all these other things that were really, really popular and kind of everywhere that no one talks about. So watching this docuseries was like looking into an actual mirror of what teenagers were wearing, especially like the ball chain necklaces and just a lot of plain ribbed tank tops, bandanas on your head, bandanas around your neck, bandanas as shirt. It was very interesting to see actual teenagers, and the docuseries even has a handful of people that attended the festival as teens that are interviewed for the series as adults, which was really interesting because they comment on not just their experience, but like just being that age at that time. And then of course the music, oh my God, that little piece of 1999 into 2000 was such a unique time in music. It was like the Korn, Limp Bizkit, Kid Rock era, and all three of those bands were at Woodstock 99. So it was interesting to see what we were into musically at that time. A lot of it was not good, but the docuseries was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. It is kind of traumatizing to watch. I mean, it really went badly. So if you're not familiar, just brace yourself, but I would recommend it, and it's a quick watch because it's only 3 parts. Speaking of trends of Y2K, next on the list is the return of Low Rise. This, I feel like, is inevitable. I feel like it has been inevitable. We've all just been like waiting to see when it was going to happen, and it's happening, you guys. It's actually here. It is starting to happen. So yesterday I shared a post from a clothing store that I like on my Instagram story, and it was a picture of 2 girls wearing low-rise cargo pants. And when I say people lost their minds over this, but okay, here's the thing. Fashion is cyclical, so we know that things are always going to come back around, whether we like it or not, especially things that were so pervasive in style and culture. Like low-rise jeans was such a staple of 2000s fashion, so it makes sense that we're in such a nostalgia era where we're actively recreating styles of that time, and we're aware of it. You know, it's not like we're trying to say that that's not happening. So these things kind of have to come back around. Like low rise has to come back around, flares have to come back around, platforms have to come back around, because these were such essential styles of that period. Fashion cycles take a long time to move through. Some things come and go pretty quickly, but if we're talking about a dominant fashion or a dominant trend or a dominant silhouette, that takes a long time. So I remember, just as an example, when skinny jeans first started to come on the scene in like 2006, I was like, absolutely not. Those are absolutely disgusting. I will never wear them. I remember having to buy my first pair of skinny jeans because I worked at Hollister and we were selling them, so they made us all buy them so we could wear them. And I was like horrified at the thought of wearing them. And that was in 2007. So it probably took me until like 2009 to really start feeling comfortable wearing skinny jeans. And then the same thing happened again when we started seeing the ultra high rise styles come in. I remember buying my first pair of high rise denim in 2015. And I mean high rise that went like above my belly button, because they had moved to a mid rise in the 2010s. But a high rise that felt high, it felt like you were zipping something all the way up, like our parents' jeans. I bought my first pair in 2015, and I remember people would do like the half tuck, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't need everyone to see that I'm wearing high rise jeans. And it wasn't until probably like 2016, 2017 that all of my jeans were high rise. So it's gonna take some time. It's not like we're just flipping a switch and high rise is gone and low rise is back. It's already starting to pop up in certain styles. So I'm seeing it a lot in non-denim so far, or non-denim pants, I should say. So things like cargo pants, things like denim skirts, things like sweatpants. I'm starting to see the rises move a little bit lower, but I have yet to see like a full-on super low rise jean collection from a major brand. I think it's gonna be one of those things where it's there, but it's not the dominant trend. And if it ever does become the dominant trend again, that's gonna be a long time from now. So don't panic. And that being said, with the changing trends, by the time that low rise ever is the dominant trend again, if that even happens, I don't think we're going to be in this crop top era anymore. I think that there's a reason why we all wore essentially dresses over our jeans in the 2000s, is because our jeans were so low, you could not sit down without exposing yourself. So we needed a shirt that practically came down to our knees. I think that the shirt trends are going to obviously continue to evolve as well. So we don't need to panic about like all of the skin being on display if we're, keeping the crop tops, but also going low. I don't think that will happen. The other thing that I think is really interesting, and I am curious to see how it plays out, is, we're in a different time now than the last time low rise pants were really popular, and it's a different generation. It's a new generation. So in our day, low rise was really difficult for anybody who didn't have a very specific body type. It was not a flattering style for most. It's still not a flattering style for most, but we were just kind of subjected to that body image everywhere. It was plastered everywhere, and we never really saw this presented on any other body type. So if you didn't have that body, you were just left to kind of try to figure out how to wear a pair of low-rise jeans and, deal with it, and most people don't have that body and didn't have that body then. So it'll be very interesting to see how this new generation approaches it, adopts it if they do, and kind of how that emerges now that we are in at least a better place with body image. Obviously, there are still a lot of issues, especially with fashion, but it is a very different climate now. Gen Z, let me know if you're gonna be wearing low rise, and if so, how, because it's not cute on a lot of people. But anyway, the whole point of this low-rise jeans rant is just to say, don't panic, because people were super, super panicked when I posted or reposted that post on my story yesterday. Trends happen alongside other trends. Just because something is trendy doesn't mean that there's not another option. It's not just like a one and done. So there hopefully, and I think will be, options for those of us who don't want to wear the super low Christina Aguilera pants in 2022. Speaking of things that were popular in the 2000s, for those of you who don't know, I have been deep in my personal journey of watching the show One Tree Hill for the very first time. So I'll take a pause to just let those of you who were unaware that I had never seen a single episode of One Tree Hill until a couple of months ago just digest that fact. Yeah, so I don't know how I missed it in the 2000s. It was obviously wildly popular and it was on for a really long time. I think there's 8 seasons, but I was peer pressured essentially into watching it because everybody lost their minds when they found out that I hadn't seen it. So I started watching it a couple months ago and I totally got hooked on it right away. The nostalgia is so perfect. The music, especially in the show, is so good. I have a couple of reaction videos for the first couple of seasons, and I promise I will make a reaction video for season 3 because I am finished with season 3 now, but I'm still digesting. I'm still not fully over the Keith situation, so I think I need a little bit of time. I'm just not feeling like drawn to watching it anymore, so I think I just need to take a little bit of a break. And I think there's a few main reasons why this is. First of all, it's a CW show, so that means it's long. There is a lot of content there. It's like 23 episodes per season, hour-long episodes. I've gone through 3. It's a lot of teenage angst and a lot of drama to digest. And also, I've never been super into like teen drama shows. I know people really freak out when I say this, but you know, things like Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, The OC, Pretty Little Liars. I would always start to watch them and get really into them, and then I would fall off after like 3 or 4 seasons. Even shows that I really, really loved. Like I loved Pretty Little Liars, but I never watched the end. I loved Gossip Girl, but I didn't actually watch the entire series until years after it ended. And now I've watched it like multiple times all the way through. But the point is that I don't have a great attention span for these kind of like soap opera teen drama shows, or not even teen dramas, just like soap opera dramas, like Grey's Anatomy, for example. I stopped watching Grey's Anatomy, I think in 2007, and that show is still on television. I can't wrap my mind around it. I was bored of it 15 years ago. So it's just like not my personal preference when it comes to TV. But going the other direction, I think one of the other reasons why I need a break on it is because season 3 was honestly so good. Season 2 is not my favorite. The recap video is up so you can see my thoughts on that, but it was just kind of slow and it wasn't my favorite. So season 3, packed full of drama, start to finish. Some really crazy things happened, some really amazing moments, great outfits, great music, like just so good. And a lot of people have also told me that season 3 is the best season. So now I'm kind of feeling like I've reached the peak, but there's 8 seasons. So I have 5 more seasons to sit through of this. I'm just not sure if I am mentally in a place where I'm ready to be let down if season 4 is not very good. If you happen to be one of the One Tree Hill Army members over on Instagram, you know this. I get asked this every single day because I post my thoughts as I watch the show, which is very entertaining because I love to talk to people about it. And I haven't been posting, obviously, so the One Tree Hill Army is coming for me. They want to know why I'm not posting my thoughts. And the answer is that I just need a little bit of a breather. And then I will return to One Tree Hill and I will see how many more seasons I get through. But for now, we're on a break. So aside from binging some Netflix and not binging One Tree Hill and just kind of staying inside and trying to avoid this crazy heat wave that we've been having, we haven't really been doing a whole lot. We've been kind of laying low. I filmed so much content while I was visiting my mom a couple weeks ago, so I haven't been hitting the content as hard lately, which has been nice because I've had a little bit quieter weeks, but I'm still kind of in the throes of editing, which I hate. I hate editing. I love creating. I have a lot of ideas, but if I don't edit it right away, it's very difficult for me to go back and sit down and do it. So I do have a couple of more videos of the journal readings that I want to edit and get up on here. I have some more footage of my old bedroom at my mom's that I want to edit and put up on here. So that's kind of what I've been doing behind the scenes, my little personal life update. And I'm still working on my big project, which I'm gonna do the annoying thing and be like, I have a big project, but I can't tell you what it is yet. But essentially it's going to be a service offering that I think will be really useful to people. I'm super excited about it. So I had to do a little photo shoot for that, which was a mess because I tried to do it outside. We live on the New York City waterfront. So I was like, what a great backdrop. And then it's August and my hair was out to here and I was sweating. So that got scrapped. So I've been working a lot on just getting materials ready for that project. Hopefully we'll have some more tangible things to actually show and explain it soon. Last but not least, I'm going to answer a couple of questions. I do ask me anything over on my IG every couple weeks, usually on Wednesdays. So I'm doing one today. So I actually just pulled 2 totally random questions and I am going to answer them. Question number 1 was, who is your favorite character on The Sopranos? So this is another thing that I can tie back to my staying inside, avoiding the heat, and watching television. My husband and I have been rewatching The Sopranos lately. I personally have watched bits and pieces of every season, but I was very young when the show came out. I think it started in 1999. So again, I was 12. But over the years, I've watched a little bit of it here and there, but I've never watched the entire thing all the way through. And I don't think my husband has either. We might be the only 2 people on the planet, certainly in the New York City area, who haven't actually seen the whole thing. So that has been our show that we've been watching together, and it's great, obviously. But the answer to that question is Livia Soprano is my favorite character, Tony's mother, and here's why. She is so, like, scary authentic. Every single scene that she's in, if you can watch that show and watch any scene with her in it and not be completely triggered to the point of like needing to make an emergency therapy appointment, I don't know who the women in your family are, but congratulations. Like, she is just so spot on. She's so funny. I feel like everybody can relate on some level, like knows somebody who is this exact character in real life. And she's so good. She's just so authentic. So I love her. The second random question that I pulled from my AMA is a fun one. What are some styles from the 90s and 2000s that you would like to see come back? There are a lot of styles from the 90s and 2000s that I really love. And of course, a lot of this is coming back. So, you know, some of these things are already starting to pop up. But my number 1 answer to this question is always flares. Flare jeans, flare pants, just flares in general. I've always been drawn to flares. The 70s kind of style in general is just something that I've always been drawn to, but on a personal level, I've always found flares just feel a little bit more flattering to me. I have sort of like a straight body type, so it adds a little shape or something. I don't know, I just really have always been drawn to flares. So I'm so excited to see them coming back. I've had a pair of flares in my closet for a few years that I bust out every now and then, and everyone's always kind of like, oh, but now I'm starting to see them actually pop up in more and more places. So I'm very happy about that. I'd also like to see kind of the like razor cut, kind of choppy layered mid-length haircuts of the 2000 come back, but in like an updated version, of course. I mean, I don't want like the Kristen from Laguna Beach haircut that I had in 2005, but something in that general vein. Those were really popular in the 2000s. Brooke on One Tree Hill is a great example of this, especially in the early couple seasons, season 1 and season 2. She has sort of like, you know, sort of like this length hair, but it's like a choppy layered look. And for me personally, I have very fine hair. That hairstyle, it didn't require fullness to achieve the look that it was trying to achieve, so it worked for me. This style now with like the hair down to the butt, voluminous, wavy, it doesn't work for this type of hair. So I would really like to see those types of hairstyles come back. I would not like to see the really bad stringy hair extensions come back. So if we can like walk the line in the 2000s hairstyles, that would be nice. And then the last thing I'll say about this is I would love to see anything from the late 2000s boho era return, and I have full confidence that it will. But that was my absolute favorite. Like that whole Rachel Zoe, Mary-Kate and Ashley, Sienna Miller, Nicole Richie vibe in like 2007 to 2009 was like my favorite era. I thrived in that era. Like all the bangles, everything was like metallic. We had metallic gold eyeshadow and like a big metallic belt. Maybe we won't bring back the metallic giant belts, but you know what I'm saying. All the metallics and like the flowy silhouettes and like the swoopy side bang, like a giant handbag. It was so perfect. I would love to see all of that come back. I have full faith that it will. We just have to wait until it comes back around. So there's my update for this week, second week of August already. Let me know what questions you want me to answer in the future in the comments. And of course, I'll be back next week with more random stuff.